Caring too much about what people think about you is one of the most frustrating things because it keeps you from taking chances in your dating life. You know you should go talk to that girl and take that chance, and yet you don't. Not because you don't want to, but because you're afraid of how other people will perceive you. And this silently destroys most guys' dating and social lives. So in the next few minutes, I want to actually help you break free from this. Not just to hype you up, but to give you an understanding and also practical tools to completely dissolve this fear of judgment. And to do this, you basically need two things. First, you need theoretical understanding of what's actually going on inside your brain. And second, you need practical exercises, because your brain does not change because you heard a nice explanation. It changes only when it sees proof through gaining reference experiences. And I'll give you both of these things in the next few minutes. First of all, the biggest thing you need to realize before we even start all this is that you're fearing something that is not real. All fear is not bad, right? Like if you're standing next to a tiger and you feel fear, well, that's good because that fear might save your life. That's a rational, intelligent fear. But when you feel fear before walking up to a girl and saying hello, like what exactly are you afraid of? She might say no. Some people around you might look at you. You might feel awkward for a few seconds, but none of those things actually threaten your survival. None of them will harm you, and yet your body reacts as if something dangerous is happening. So the first step is at least understanding conceptually that this fear is irrational. I know it feels real, like your heart races, your palms start sweating, your mind is freezing. It feels very real in the moment, but the threat is actually not real. So now let's talk about why you even have this fear in the first place. And essentially there are two main reasons. Number one is simply biology. Back in the day, if you did something that went against the tribe, you risked being excluded from that tribe. And if you were excluded, you'd probably die. So caring about your reputation actually made logical sense. The problem is your nervous system hasn't really updated to the modern society. It still treats social rejection like a massive survival threat. And in these times, you won't be kicked out of society because a girl thinks you're awkward. And even if you theoretically were kicked out of your city or the country, it wouldn't matter because you don't depend on a small tribe to survive anymore. Now, the reason number two why you feel this fear is actually something to do with yourself, and it's your ego and identity. A lot of you watching are logical, analytical, intelligent men, which I appreciate, and you've built an identity around that. You see yourself as this smart, competent guy. So when you imagine walking up to a girl and potentially being rejected, what are you really afraid of? You're afraid of looking stupid. You're afraid that someone around you might think that you're actually not as cool or intelligent as you want to be seen. So what you're really protecting is your ego. And this identity protection mechanism is exactly what creates this fear of judgment. You're not actually protecting your life, you're just protecting your self-image, which means if you want to get free from this, you have to be willing to sort of let go of that grip on that image. You have to become okay with potential embarrassment. And the irony is that when you actually are okay with potential embarrassment, you're almost never actually that embarrassed. Because let's be real, most people don't care about you. They're busy thinking about themselves. But the ability to risk looking a little bit foolish is, it's absolutely critical if you want to be good with women and overall socially. And that's where you got to start. Now, you might be listening to all of this and thinking, okay, cool, that sounds logical, I get it. Fear isn't real, biology, ego, tribe, blah, 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 great. I still can't do it. I still freeze. I still see that girl. I need to talk to her. I still freeze. I can't do it. I still care what people think about it. So logically, you understand it, but emotionally, it's still controlling you. And you're exactly right. That's why theory alone is not enough. Your brain does not change because you understood or you heard a nice explanation. What you need is to build positive reference experiences. You go talk to someone, nothing bad happens, and your brain's like, wow, nothing actually happened. And then you do it again, nothing bad happens, you do it again, still nothing bad happens, and slowly your brain updates like a computer update and realizes that this fear isn't actually real. Not just logically, but you're realizing this emotionally. And if you want to do something practical today, go ask 5 strangers for directions. I know it seems small, but that's where you gotta start. You ask 5 strangers for directions, and then nothing bad happens, and you lose a bit of that judgment and that fear. And the next day, you might increase the difficulty of the task. And if you're actually serious about fixing your fear of judgment, I actually record a completely free crash course specifically on overcoming fear of judgment and social anxiety, which I will link it here. In that video, I basically walk you through 6 different public drills you can do to get rid of this fear of judgment. And I don't just explain these drills, I literally show myself doing these drills in real life. So go watch that video now and actually implement the drills. And you'll be surprised how fast you can lose your fear of judgment, even if it's been holding you back for years.